So I want to have an in-depth discussion discussing a lot of things, hitting a lot of topics, and this might be triggering or upsetting for people to hear because it is extremely honest, brutal, and realistic. First and foremost, if you don't have any remarkable amount of money or an excellent career, you shouldn't be having kids. And I'm saying this as someone who has kids, who had kids when I wasn't financially ready, not that I am now or anything like that, but it's unfair. I understand that people feel that they should be able to experience having kids and things like that, and men especially feel that they need to spread on their legacy, even though most men don't have any notable legacy besides just average income or average man or whatever it is. But the reality is, all you are doing is birthing the next workforce. And I can say that as a mother because I feel terrible that all I did was put kids into this world who are going to most likely have to labor the rest of their lives. It is an incredibly guilty feeling. And yes, I know life is what you make it. Of course it is. I have fun in life. I have joy. I laugh all the time, and I make the most of what I have and things like that. But the reality still stands that most people are simply going to just be cogs in the wheel of the machine of capitalism forever. And people are struggling more and more. And if we really admit it, no one wants to work. But we do things like we villainize the unhoused population and things like that. But when we get down to it, it's all a scam to work 50 years of your life and only get maybe 10 years at the end if you're extremely lucky, if you make it that far, where you have less energy and you're less healthy and things like that, and then you pass away and then your Social Security is recycled to the next person. It's an extreme scam for most people. Not to say that rich people would be better parents emotionally or mentally, but money does matter, and that's really what we're discussing. We're not discussing how good parents somebody would be. Money matters. Yes, life is what you make it, but money matters. And if you have children into a financial situation where you have to extreme budget and you have to forego things or go without, that means your kids do too, and it's not fair. Nearly everything that we are taught is to feed the economy. That's why we're taught to get married, taught to have kids, and things like that. But the reality is most people don't have any business having children, and they keep having them and having more and more and more. If this country cared about kids, we would have universal health care. We would have a more affordable cost of living and things like that, because it's not so much that people hate working, it's that they're not getting anywhere. They're spinning their wheels, getting absolutely nowhere year after year, robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? When you get a raise, your rent goes up or something like that. So people never get ahead, and it's meant to be that way. That's why more people cannot be awake to see this society going, because once you're aware of reality, if more people are aware of reality, this whole society would crumble. This society requires people to be delusional, requires people to be proud of their jobs that are exploiting them. It requires them to feel more superior than an unhoused person, for example, because they hold a job and they go to work and they do what society told them to do. But at the end of the day, this is all a scam, and most people won't be able to handle that reality because a lot of people can only cope with the positive vibes only trope and things like that. But bottom line, men don't have a legacy to pass on. I know that men will come up to you and say, I need to pass on my legacy. I need a son, I need a daughter. They can't do anything remarkable for that child's life. That child will just be born into a world where they're going to have to fight capitalism. So think heavily before you have kids, because you're going to feel guilty that they just have to struggle to keep their head above water their whole life. And that's truly the reality of it. The most free person is someone who doesn't have a spouse and doesn't have kids. That person will be the least victim to capitalism and having to work and work and work, because once you have children, you have to meet a certain number every month for those children to survive, not necessarily thrive. Most people are just doing the basics, but it's not fair to children to constantly have to forego things that they want to experience and things like that because their parents don't have it together. Bottom line, most people do not have the money to be having children.